Hello, Privyet. I'm Emily Leelisher,
And hello, Privet. I am Paris Leelisher.
and we met Nelia back in 2012, winter of 2012, 2013. And I met her through dance, through the belly dancing class that is in Mariupol. I came to get to know Nelia through Arina, one of my friends here in Utah, and she was from Dnipro, and she found out when we were going to Ukraine that she wanted me to be able to be in contact with some of just Ukrainians, so that we could get to know your culture and get to know all the amazing people there, and understand the amazing culture you guys have there. And so she reached out to Nelia and Nelia's dance teacher, and then from there we made connection when we got to Mariupol, and definitely made my stay so much more fun. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Paris. He has a few little things.
And then we got an apartment in Mariupol, and come to find out, we actually lived really close to Nelia's house. And so there were several nights where we could walk down to their house. We had dinner with them and their family. They were very gracious hosts. They had so many wonderful foods and drink. It was just really good to meet the family, even though we couldn't speak their language and they couldn't speak English very well. It was fun to try to be able to communicate and learn. We did have Lisa, which is one of Nelia's friends. She was translating for us, and so when we would get stuck on a subject, she would help us. So that was really fun.
Some of the fun things that we did while we were there is Nelia and her family also kind of showed us about different parts of Mariupol. We went to a few cafes, and they introduced us to some different desserts and drinks, and that was a lot of fun to do that. Another thing for me was when I would go shopping at the market, at the big market, it was a lot of fun because there was a lot of different meat that you guys had in your meat department that we've never experienced here in the States. And one of the times they had the feet on the piece of meat they had in the freezer. And so we figured out by looking at the feet what type of animal it was. It was just something pretty fun and different that we didn't get to experience, and unusual for us. And the other thing that was unusual for me is when we would go to the orphanage to meet our daughter we were adopting, the ladies who ran the orphanage would always tell me they thought I looked like one of the kids because I apparently dressed very young for my age, even though I was much older. And so that was something unusual for me to learn about, is learning about the different age appropriate clothing.
Yeah. One thing that I found kind of funny and unusual, I'm a runner for exercise and for sport, and I was training for a marathon, and so I would do running exercises through the cities and through the villages. And as I was running, I would notice that people would look at me and then look behind me and curious, why is this guy running? And so I think it was maybe something very unusual for them to see somebody running in running shorts and t-shirt in the middle of winter because it was December. And so that was something kind of fun and unusual. Another thing that we did find that was different for us, but we really liked, is under our apartment and under many of the other apartments were little markets, little shops, and they would have food, just different things for your house, different, stuff you can buy to drink. And so that was interesting for us because here we don't have those type of markets within our housing. We have to go to the big supermarket for food and drink and stuff like that. So that was interesting. And then we got to make friends with the ones in our apartment, and she made a wonderful honey cake. And so we would go down, and she would take the knife and she would set the knife at the edge of it. We're like, no, more.
Yet.
And so then she'd get more. So then she'd move it. We're like, more. So she'd move it. We're like, that. And so then she'd be happy, cut us the honey cake and package it up. So we made friends with the local market merchants.
And then another thing that was interesting was all the cats and dogs that
Everywhere.
roamed around, at least at where we lived at the apartments. And I don't know if it was like that in the villages as well, but where we were at, there was a lot of cats and dogs that roamed. And so here, there's not very many that roam. We actually have, I would call them animal police, that if a dog or cat is roaming, they capture it and they put it in like
A shelter.
And it either the animal sits there until somebody adopts it or the owner comes and finds their pet. So that was just something very, very interesting.
Yeah. So another thing that was interesting to us is we had some people help us with the housing, with the transportation and everything getting around, and they are the ones who secured our apartment for us. And when we got to the apartment, they were teaching us, first you go through this set of doors into a vestibule, and then to get into your apartment, you have another 2 sets of doors. And it was just 3 sets of doors to even get in to the apartment. It was something very different for us, because where we live here in Utah, sometimes we even forget to lock our door. And they said that would be very strange for them. So, we have one simple, in fact, we don't have a key. We do it with a push button. It opens the door and you just push button again and it locks the door. So that was something new to us.
Yep. And then the other thing is the driver who would, for the orphanage, or I shouldn't say orphanage, the adoption company that would drive us around, we would always tell him that, oh, tonight I've got dance class. Tomorrow we'll be going to the school number 5, and we're going to go in and help an English class. And so they thought that was really interesting that we were able to come to Mariupol and become part of the community by going through dance and just meeting all these amazing people. And by meeting Nelia, we met Lisa and many other people that we still keep in contact with through social media.
Mm-hmm.
So
we had dinner at Nelia's house a couple times. We had dinner at Lisa's house a couple times. It was wonderful. And the adoption company that was helping us said that that's not very typical for a lot of adoptive families to come in and make friends like that and to be reaching out and doing stuff in the community. So it was something very special for us and exciting. We got to go to the school, like Emily said, and speak to the class. And so they asked us all sorts of questions. They were asking us everything from sports that we do to what's it like at our house, and then
fast
types
food.
of music and fast food. They had me pull up some music on my phone. I listen to very kind of loud music, and so they thought that was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to be able to see how many of the cultures are similar, but yet the small differences.
yeah, so we hope this video will be some fun for you guys in your class, and we're so grateful for all the hospitality that Nelia and her family had for us, and we keep hoping that one day that we can welcome them into our home, because we would love to have them come and stay here in the United States in our home, and because we would like to give them also the hospitality that they gave us, which was very amazing and made our trip to Ukraine very memorable and happy.
And very special.
Yeah. So see you guys.
Bye.
Thanks.